So in our first session this week, we've talked about nail lamps and the LED lamp versus the UV lamp. And we've talked about how to prep the nails, ready to apply gel. And we've talked a little bit about the different types of products that are available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do a gel infill. Now obviously I'm calling it an infill because I've already got gel extensions on my nails, although they've been infilled about 3 times I think. So because of that they've now grown out, so they are virtually my own nail, not a nail extension. That's one of the good things about if you sculpt nails rather than stick tips on. So I sculpted them, and that means that, you know, they have grown, and each time they've grown I have filed them and then I have done my infills. So this time I'm recording it for you so that you can have a look and see how a gel infill is done. And I hope you enjoy it, and then you'll be able to have a go yourselves. So I'm going to show you how to prep your nails ready to do a gel infill. So I have existing gel on my fingers. They have been on there for a while, as you can see by the amount of growth that's on there. Now I did hand file some of this off last night on a previous training to show somebody else. So I'm just going to show you how you would do this if you were using Efile. So on the Efile we have one of these fairly fine ceramic bits here, and I'm going to use that just to remove where my infill is going to be, although as you can see there isn't a huge amount that needs to be removed on here. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to show you how to use the Efile. So we turn our Efile on, we hold our hand facing us, and we just gently bring the Efile around the cuticle area, just removing any little bits on here that are loose. I'm going to come down the length of the nail. Hopefully you can follow that on here. So I'm just thinning out this area here so that I can reapply some gel. So I'm going round the cuticle area, just making sure that there's no lifting. And I'm just going to come across here. And I'm going to do that on each one of these using this. So because this is gel, I don't need a really super strong grit on my Efile. I've just got a fine one here, and this has got a safety end on it. So you can see it's a round end and it's not actually hurting my skin. I'm just going across. I'm using it at an angle, so I'm angling down just to take off any lifting. And then I'm just going to go across the barrel like this. You can see that I'm pushing on my hand here because I'm actually holding this up to show on the camera. This just gives me stability. So I do the same for each and every one. So I'm thinning out the gel that's on there and making the cuticle area ready to be infilled. So I think these have done pretty well. I think these have been on probably 6 weeks in total. Have infilled them after 2 weeks each time. So I've done 2 infills on these, and I'm now on my last one. And you'll be able to see that my actual natural nail underneath has nearly grown up to the length of the nail. So I'm actually now just doing a gel overlay rather than sculpting, because it's actually the length of my natural nail. If I want to take the length down, I can do that. And if I want to change the shape, I can do that at this stage as well. So I'm just using this just to soften and take off any little bits, ready to do the infill, and I'll do the same on the other hand, and then I'll come back and show you the next bit that I'm going to use on here. So I finished doing all around the nail with the Efile, using the fine bit here that has got a safety end on it. So it's very fine and it's great for gel. It wouldn't be any good for acrylic, but it's good for gel. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use this bit here, and I'm going to go around the cuticle. So just bring this bit along the cuticle and down the side wall, and that will just get rid of any little bits that you don't want to have, and push back the cuticle as well. It's actually quite difficult doing this on your own hand, because I'm trying to hold my hand this way. So what I would do with the client, I would do all of their nails, all of their cuticles like this. And then once I've done that, I will turn the direction of the file, the E-file, the opposite way, which means I can then come down that way. So you've got two ways or two directions on your E-file. That's the one way, and then this is the other way. So I'm just going to do that on the other hand. And the final bit that I'm going to use, I'm just going to go around the cuticle area now with this little round ball cuticle bit. This will take off any little dead bits of skin. And by now you'll see that the cuticle area that's exposed here now, I've got more of my nail plate showing that I'm going to be able to put my gel on. And I'm going to do the same on this hand. So if you don't want to use an E-file, you can just use a cuticle pusher. So what you would do is make sure you go down the side walls and around the cuticle and then back up. Just pushing back the cuticle. And clearing all the little bits of dead skin so that you can put your fresh gel on there. And it actually means that you've got more visible nail plate to put your infill. So practice on yourself, you can see how vigorous you can be. If you've got any loose bits that come up, you can use cuticle nippers just to tidy up those little bits of loose skin. So I'm just going around these. I have just used the Efile on them, but just so that you can see, if you need to use a cuticle nipper, you can see that there are some loose bits of skin here. So I'm just going to take those out of the way. And that means that there's no dead skin whatsoever left on the nail plate. Dead skin on the nail plate will cause lifting, just like dust on the nail plate. So just a quick tidy up with the nippers. And we've got pretty much a clear area there now to be able to apply our gel. Okay, so once I've removed all of the dead bits of cuticle, I'm now going to just use my file just to go over that fresh bit of nail plate that's been exposed. So I'm taking my file around there just to make sure I've taken off any shine, and it will help my fresh gel stick on that new area. So just do that all the way around. I'm just using 150 grit file here. And then once you've done that, you're going to get rid of all the dust, and we're going to wipe over the nail plate with some nail prep and wipe, or it could be isopropyl alcohol. So just wipe over that area. And remove any dust, any bits of skin, anything that's on there, and that will dehydrate that area. You'll see that that starts to go a bit white and it's dehydrated. Just going to do the other hands, and then we're ready to start doing our gel application. So all the lifting has been removed, cuticles have been pushed back, shape's been tidied up, and we're now ready to apply the gel. Different brands have different criteria, so I tend to use Young Nails, and I like their protein bond. So what I will actually do is use a tiny bit of the protein bond across the new area of exposed nail plate, and it just helps with any lifting that may happen. I'm going to do that on both hands. It's very difficult to do this hand, as you can see, but it's really good practice to do the opposite hand, because you'll become really quick then and more skilled the more practice you do. So this prep that we've done so far is exactly how I would prep if I was putting acrylic on, or if I was putting hard gel on, or if I was putting acry gel or poly gel on. It's the same process, the same prep. We're now ready to apply whatever we want to do our overlay or our extension, depending on what we're doing. So I'm just going to get all of that ready, and then I'll come back. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about gel and the gel application. So this is a trial kit, Synergy Gel Trial Kit. This is Young Nails product, and in there you have all you need to start doing gel. So So it's great because it's a trial kit, so you've got a bit of everything. So we've got all sorts of products in here and each one has a purpose. So we're going to start off using the base gel. So you need a gel brush and you need some wipe off solution or some isopropyl alcohol just to prepare your brush. So we're going to take our base gel, put your brush in and then just tap it off, and then you're going to apply the base gel over the nail plate. You don't need a big thick amount of this. It just needs to cover the cuticle area that you're putting new gel on. So I'm just popping it down to the cuticle area over that new exposed bit of nail plate and just bringing it right to the length of the nail. So just pop it on, push the gel up to the cuticle, to the side, and then bring it down with your brush. And then pop in the lamp for the required amount of time. So every product's different, manufacturers are all different, so just read your product guide and look at your lamp to see what setting you want it on. When you put your hand in the lamp, make sure you put the cap on the gel and put the gel out of the way of the direct lamp, because otherwise it will cure and you don't want that, and you don't want your brush to cure. So I've just applied a very, very, very thin amount of base. I'm doing my thumb as well. You can of course do your thumb separately, because depending on the lamp, it won't always fit. And then just pop that into your lamp to cure for the required amount of time. I'm now just going to wipe the brush and get that ready for the next layer of gel. So if you haven't got this trial kit, you can just use a basic base coat, gel base coat. So this is a rubber base, which I would quite happily use, but I'm just showing you this trial kit at the moment. Okay, so we now have a tacky area of base coat, and it will stay tacky, and you need it to stay tacky for your gel to stick. So now we're going to use concealer pink. I'm using this because I like the product and I like the way I can just put a top coat on it and my nails are a pink colour. I don't have to paint them. So I'm just going to show you how I would use this. Okay, so it's fairly thick. You pop your brush in, you take a bead of product and then just tap it across one edge to the other to take the string away. That's quite a big bead. It's probably far too much, but I'm just going to show you in this example. Then I'm going to place the bead down onto the cuticle, onto the nail plate near the cuticle. As you can see, it's quite a round bead now, and I'm just going to push it to one side and to the other, keeping my brush in contact all the time with the gel. So I've not actually lifted that product off at all. I'm just working with the product and moving it near to the cuticle, but not touching the cuticle. You don't want it to touch. and you want to budge it over to the edge of the nail plate, and then just work that product down towards the end of your nail. So as you can see, I haven't lifted the brush off at all. I'm just working with the product on the brush until I get to the end. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check it from the side, look down the barrel, make sure I'm happy with it, make sure it's gone right over to the edge, make sure it's gone far enough to the cuticle. It self levels, so you can see that it's as I sweep the brush with the product, it's self leveling. Now if I'm not sure whether I like what I've got on there, or if it's not quite how I want it, I can put my hand upside down. Gravity will then bring that product down on the nail and stop it all coming off the side. I'm going to have another look. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do is flash cure it. So it's literally just pop that in and flash cure. So I don't need it to be in there long. I just need it to be there long enough. It's actually just outside of the lamp, to be fair. I just need it long enough to 10 seconds or 20 seconds, or just stop it from running while I work on the next nail. Okay, so that is now what we call flash cured, so it should stay there. I'm going to do exactly the same for the next one. I just need to turn the lamp off. Okay, so take your brush, pop it into the product, take a bead, tap the bead against each side just to take it off without stringing everywhere. Place the bead near the cuticle and just wiggle your brush. So all I'm doing is moving my brush in little circular motions just to get that down near to the cuticle but not on the cuticle. And then across to the other side and back. So I'm not actually taking the brush off here at all, as you can see. I'm working with the product and moving the product down towards the end of the nail. So if you'd put a tip on, if you'd already applied a plastic tip, this is exactly how you would cover your tip. So just put the product down near the cuticle, push it across and keep working with that product until it covers the whole of the nail plate. I need to just push it a little bit nearer there. I don't think I've gone over enough. And if I'm not sure how it looks, I can just turn it upside down, let it fall. What I may do is I may do two at the same time. So while that one is falling, I'll get another bead and then work on the next nail. So get your bead, push it down. Some people explain it as pillowing it. So you pillow it down towards the cuticle area and then just keep working with that product, moving the product towards the next area, and then you can just go back and forth all the way up until you get to the end of the nail. Because it self levels, as long as you turn your hand like that, gravity will pull it down into the area that you need it. So if we just have a look at this now, I've done two and they're not too bad actually. I'm just gonna pop a bit more on there. And I'm just going to put them in the lamp just for 10 seconds, just to freeze cure them. And then I'm going to get another bead and do the little finger. Probably won't need as much as that. Just tap it off. Place the bead near the cuticle and pillow it down towards the cuticle. Pillow it across to the side. Just working with your brush. Keeping the brush in contact with that gel. Now I've run out of gel here, look, you can see I've got to there, so I'm just going to bring it to the end. I'm going to take a tiny bit more actually, just for there. So I'm just adding it to it, just working with that gel, pillowing it and pushing it over to the side, keeping contact all the time. That's the bit I wanted to cover, just there. Looks as though it was a little bit weak there. So I'm just going back over there. If you're not sure whether it's on properly, you can look sideways and just see how it's looking. And then you can just turn your hand over, move the gel out of the way, do a quick 10-second freeze, and then you can put your hand in for the required amount of time then to cure that. So I did my 10 seconds. I'm now going to do 60. If you do get any heat spike at all, I always do the first sort of 10 seconds just slightly outside of the lamp, and then as the lamp ticks away, I'll then put my hand in. So you'll see that my thumb's out. I'm going to do my thumb separately. So I'm just doing 60 seconds and then I'll show you how that looks. Okay, so I've taken my hand out of the lamp, I've done my thumb and I've done my fingers, and what I'm going to do now is check them, make sure I'm happy with them. So I look down the barrel of the nail and then I look sideways and then turn it round and just make sure that they look as though they're pretty well covered. If there's any areas on there that I think need a little bit more gel, I can pop it straight on there now. So I'm just going to double check. I think that they're pretty covered, so I'm going to leave that as it is. If I felt that they didn't actually need any filing or anything at all, I would then put my top coat straight on in the lamp and then I'm done, as long as I'm using a wipe free or a no wipe top coat. Now I feel that I may need to just buff across the top slightly. This little one here has got a tinsy wincy kind of bump on the end there. So what I'll do is I will wipe them off with my wipe off solution so they're not tacky. So a quick wipe and they're not tacky, and then I can correct them. So what I'll do is give them a little file, wipe them off again, and then put my top coat on. So at the moment, I'm leaving those as they are. Then I can do this hand. So I'm going to do this hand now, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to finish off. So we've applied the gel. As you can see, I've got slightly more lumpy on this hand because that's the hand that I find it difficult to do. So I've used my right hand to do my left, and that's actually not too bad. This one is a little lumpy. It's not too bad, but it just needs a bit of tidying up. So I'm just going to show you how I would finish off. So I get my file and I come down the side wall, just to sharpen up those edges. So what shape are we going for? So we'll round off the end a little bit because I don't want to stab anybody. So I'm going to make this an almond shape. So I'm just slightly rounding. If I wanted it to be stiletto, I would do it really, really sharply to make it more of a stiletto, more of a sharp edge. So first of all, I'm going to do that on every nail that I have. Just do along the side wall. So follow out like that so that you're keeping it in the shape that you want. It's very easy to go wrong with the shape. Actually, these are probably a bit too long really for me, but I'll just finish this off. So I'm just coming out with the file. And that way you can see if there's any little bits of gel that have gone on somewhere that they shouldn't. There we are. Now what I'm going to do is I would normally file around the cuticle area, but the cuticle area is actually really good on here. But if I wanted to, I would take my file at that angle and just go across the cuticle area like that, and then back that side. And then I do the same at the bottom. And this just makes sure that there's no lumps then. And then you've just left with that triangle, no, diamond, isn't it? That diamond shape in the middle. So I always do around that side, around that side, the bottom, making sure it's nice and straight. And then you can just go across the top, just making sure there's no lumps or bumps. Because if there are any bumps on there, it will show when you paint them. So I'm not going to paint these, I'm going to leave them this colour that they are. I am going to put some top coat on, so I want them to be finished. I don't want any dips or bumps in them. Same on this one now. So you would come round the cuticle area. And then back round on that side. And then I like to do the end. And the end on the other side. So you end up with this diamond shape in the middle, working around it. And that way you know that you've worked over all of the nail and you're not going to have any lumps or bumps. So when I'm happy with that, and I think it's refined enough and slim enough at the end, I will just go across the top then, just to make sure that there's no dips or bumps. If you're not sure, just run your finger over it and you can always tell if there's any dips. And then you can hold it to the side. You can hold it and look down and you can see if there's any more refining that you need to do before you put your top coat on. So I'm going to do the same on every one and on the other hands, and then I'm going to come back with my top coat once I've wiped all of this dust away, because obviously the top coat, you can't put it on top of all the dust. So you can either use a little brush to brush away the dust, or you can use one of your little wipes with some wipe off solution on. And you can see how easily this files. It's really fine, very soft, and it files really easily. So it's a little bit softer to file than acrylic. And for some people, they find it easier to work with, but not everybody does. So just make sure the shape's how you want it. It's not too bumpy, and then once you're happy with that, like I say, you can just pop your top coat on. So I'll just finish these off and then I'll show you the finished look. So I've finished filing. I have wiped them off with some of the gel residue wipe off solution, and then I've top coated them in the no wipe top coat, and these are the finished nails. So what I'm going to do now is just pop a tiny bit of cuticle oil on. So this just helps to rehydrate around the cuticle area where you've been working, and oh, it's hard doing it with the opposite hand. I'm going to go like that. So just pop that on there. Just a little bit of cuticle oil. I usually use cuticle oil as an opportunity to see if there's any lumps or bumps on my client. So while I'm rubbing it round, I can see if there's anything else that needs to be kind of refiled or done. So there's the finished infills. So that is just using the Cover Pink in a hard gel product, just going over. I did originally sculpt these, and as I said, my nails grew out as I had them infilled, so they are virtually my natural nail now. So we would actually call these overlays, gel overlays. So it just gives some strength to the nail, and then when I'm doing things, I'm not going to suddenly split or break my nails. Okay, so any questions, just give me a call.